Welcome to this episode of Jacks2Pavement. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to install an oxygen sensor into a 2002 Chevrolet Cavalier. Alright, here are the tools you're going to need for this job. I have an array of sockets, a ratchet, 3/8 drive, 3/8 drive extensions, dielectric grease, an oxygen sensor socket. This is actually a 7/8 or 22 millimeter socket, and all it has is a opening for the wire to go through. This could be 3/8 drive or a 1-inch drive wrench. And I also have a 22 millimeter wrench in case I need a little more torque. Here's the new oxygen sensor. It's an AC Delco sensor. And some additional tools I have: my electric impact and an adapter to fit 3/8 sockets. Alright, now the first thing you would want to do is disconnect the wire. Now, whoever owned this car before me yanked it out of here and broke the connector, so it's just been dangling. You just want to disconnect it like that. Alright, now we've got to remove this bolt, or back it out just a little, so that way we can have enough clearance in order to get the oxygen sensor socket in there to pull the oxygen sensor out. Now conveniently, I got my buddy here to tell me when I've got the bolt out far enough.
A little bit more. That should be good.
Alright, next up, you can get the oxygen sensor socket over the sensor, line it up, and then crack it loose. Now you may need to use a little bit of penetrating oil in order to get it out, since it is an exhaust component. And it's probably going to be stiff, since most of the time they don't go bad for at least 100,000 miles, and it will have been in there quite a long time. Alright, now something important. You really want to compare the old oxygen sensor to the new one. Now since I did go with an AC Delco sensor, it's most likely going to be correct. You want to make sure you've got the same number of holes in the sensor and the same spacing in between them. You also want to apply a little bit of anti-seize. Now, the new sensor that I bought came with a little bit on there, so I didn't need to bring any. You want to make sure the connector is the same as the old one, with the same alignment tab on the inside, same locking mechanism on there, and if there are any push pins to hold it in, make sure that they're there. Alright, now one thing I forgot to mention earlier is that we disconnected the battery, mainly because my starter is quite close to this bolt and I didn't want to have any arcing. Now you want to apply just a little bit of the dielectric grease into each of the cavities. This just helps to prevent any corrosion and make sure that you do have a good connection. Alright, now we're actually going to put the sensor in. Just thread it in as much as you can. We're getting your socket and your ratchet in. Once you've got your tool on there, you want to make sure that this is fairly tight, because otherwise you will have an exhaust leak. And this will also throw your sensor's readings, particularly since we're doing an upstream sensor. This is important, because otherwise you'll think your car's running leaner than it really is, and give you very poor fuel economy. Alright, go ahead and plug it back in, and then apply the push pin. Alright, and now we're going ahead and reconnecting the exhaust manifold bolt, which we took off for a little more clearance. And you want to make sure this is tight as well. If you do have to disconnect any of your exhaust components, you want to make sure to get a new gasket in order to ensure proper sealing. Alright, now we're going to reconnect the negative terminal of my battery. And make sure it's relatively tight. I hope you found this information useful. If you have any questions or suggestions for further episodes, please comment below. You can also check out our Facebook and Twitter pages. The links are listed below. Thank you for watching.